You ready to go, Beth?
I'm going to follow up with an email.
Okay, I'd like to call the
Thank you.
October 3rd, 2018 Township of Lopatcong Council meeting to order. I would ask everyone to bow their heads for a moment of silence, keeping in mind that this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. My mother passed away from that, and my sister is an ovarian cancer survivor for the last 12 years, and Mr. Wright up here is also a cancer survivor. So keeping that in mind, I'd ask for a moment of silence. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette, the express times, and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilman Belcaro.
Here.
Councilman Polito.
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Here.
Council President Pryor.
Here.
Mayor Micucci.
Here. Need a motion to come out of executive
I'll
session.
make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Folks, any questions on the agenda items? Public comment on agenda items only. Seeing none, we'll move right into old business. Need a motion to approve the executive session and regular sessions for September 5th, 2018 minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Do you have a second?
Well, I'll second it, and then I have one comment.
Okay.
On my council report, Beth, I don't have it in front of me, I didn't print them, but in my discussion, you see that, I guess it's the second line from the bottom. I said about somebody knew about something, and it says NEW. We gotta change that.
Okay.
Other than that,
Gotta stick your K in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So. All right.
Yeah, sometimes it comes up and, I might click the wrong, just real quick.
Anybody else?
I wasn't here for September 15th, so.
You weren't here for the
Yeah,
September
yeah.
15, you have to abstain.
Roll call then, Beth?
Okay. Yes, Councilman Belcaro.
Abstain.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Council President Pryor.
yes,
Mayor Micucci.
Yes. Ordinance number 18-14, a second reading and public hearing to establish title and salary orders for court violations clerk and increase salary ranges as necessary. Need a motion to open up for public?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Folks, questions, comments on number 2 under old business? Seeing none, motion to close?
Motion.
Second?
Second,
Beth?
Yes, I'll roll call that. Councilman Belcaro.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Council President Pryor.
yes.
Mayor Micucci.
Yes. Under new business, number 1 is a shared...
Did we pass the ordinance, or we just closed the discussion?
We close the session.
Have to pass the ordinance.
Pass the ordinance
Motion
then.
to act.
Motion to act on it?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, I'll roll call that again. Councilman Belcaro.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Council President Pryor.
Yes.
Mayor Micucci.
Yes. Under new business, shared service agreement with the municipalities, number 1.
Yeah, I was talking to Brian, throughout the years, there's a tendency for us to work with different municipalities surrounding us, sharing a piece of equipment, or, and now maybe the Phillipsburg High School, but it'd be nice to have an agreement in place every year, so we don't have to stop and do that when we have an issue at hand and time is of the essence or something like that. And then all we have to do is call for the insurance certificate, and maybe we can even get that in place for the entire year too, but it seems to be something that we do on a regular basis, so it'd be nice just to get that, in place in January and be done with it.
Didn't we have these years ago with like Harmony and stuff for paving and whatnot? So-
We borrow their roller, yep, there's certain times they use our front end loader. We've, Peaburg has given us their jetback over the year for sewer lines,
Yep.
and so there are times when we rely on our neighbors,
Sure.
and they rely on us.
So you want to draw something up? You want to?
Yeah, I would like Katrina to draw up, shared service
Do you need a
agreement.
motion for that, Katrina? For you to drop a shared services agreement?
Yeah, you can.
All right. So can I have a motion to allow our attorney to drop a shared services agreement?
I'll make the motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, and I'll roll call Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes. Number 2, under new business, request from Bridge Development Partners LLC to adopt an ordinance authorizing traffic control of Rand Boulevard from Route 22 to the Lopatcong-Phillipsburg border.
Well, this, I imagine this is similar to what we do with Hillcrest, and
Yes, the developer is requesting, and this really comes out of their DOT permit process, they're requesting municipality provide Title 39 enforcement, which would involve us preparing an ordinance and would allow the police department to enforce that ordinance after this roadway is built, and which would be speed limits, any type of parking restrictions, any type of lane use reservations, if there was multiple travel lanes, which there are going to be. There's also going to be a stop sign at Lock Street. Lock Street's going to be realigned to meet this roadway, so the stop sign will be enforced as well.
so that empowers our officers to enter the site and enforce normal traffic.
Correct.
Okay. A motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Second? Second.
Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes. Number 3 is the ordinance regarding basketball hoops. This one's for Ted.
I didn't write anything because at the last
First
meeting...
reading, it's just by,
Well, because by last meeting, there was some confusion as to whether I was writing an ordinance or there was a subcommittee meeting.
There was to be a subcommittee meeting of some residents
Okay.
that I have not heard back from.
Okay, and I didn't hear from the committee's
So-
council, so I didn't write anything.
let me start the
I-
discussion, whether something comes
Correction,
out of
I
the
didn't hear
discussion, they'll
from
determine.
a majority of the committee. I did hear from one member of the committee.
There was a gentleman here, well, the way this started is some people got cited for refusing to remove basketball backboards and hoops from the street. And a gentleman came in last week and he argued against that, and you know, you couldn't really argue against what he was saying. He was former basketball coach. He says, well, they've always been around. Kids play in front of the house. It generates interest in the sport. They sharpen their game. All those things are true. By themselves, you can't really argue against them. On the other hand, they do interfere with many of our public works operations. That's what first prompted these inspections and citations. And maybe there's things that could have been worked out there, but what I felt that could not be worked out, and in my opinion is a no-brainer, are the safety issues. Streets are for cars, not for kids. And the way I saw it, you could write a whole laundry list of reasons why the town should not officially recognize basketball courts in the street. And it was my concern that if there was ever an accident, the town would be in a very bad position. The other side would put up a traffic expert, put up a retired police chief, and so on, and then one of us would be on the stand explaining why we thought it was okay to play in the street. So that kind of ended the discussion there, but since last meeting, Beth has contacted our insurance agent, and they agreed. Matter of fact, I think they sent us a model ordinance or another,
No, they took a look at our ordinance.
and they wanted the ordinance strengthened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I did document my reasoning, and I sent it to Katrina. Now, what do you feel? Yeah.
Well, it's a policy decision what the council wishes to do, but from an insurance standpoint and a liability protection standpoint, I understand why strengthening the ordinance to prohibit them is probably in the town's best interest.
That's why I feel, and that's to work in the town's best interest. What I'd like to propose, I know the usual arguments are, well, there's not enough around town, the big kids hog the courts, so on. I mean, if there's a demand for that, I think we can look at maybe throwing up some more backboards around town. Jim?
I wanted to meet with the Recreation Committee to discuss alternate solutions for
Yeah.
the kids to play basketball.
And they don't even have to be full competitive courts, just
No.
a half court where kids can do what they would have done in the street. I know there's a court on Edward that hardly ever sees use. The ones at the park see heavy use, so I can understand
The ones at
the,
Park are used a lot. The ones at the, it's out of our jurisdiction, but the ones at the high school, or the old high school, are used very heavily. So,
And I-
mean,
maybe-
there's an interest, obviously.
maybe we could work something with the school, we'll throw one up there or something. We can do that, but
Yeah.
I have a hard time promoting kids playing in the street, especially little kids. And I'll tell you one of the things, I was going down the street the other night, I told Katrina, and there's a little kid shoots out right in front of me with, he's got a hockey net set up, and he whizzes a shot across the street, and my car was the last thing on his mind. So, I don't know, I would like to see an ordinance drafted, and we'll have a full hearing at the second reading, and we're kind of coming to the end of the year, so we gotta do our ordinances if we're gonna do them. And we have a recommendation from our insurance company, so,
So let me ask this question, because by doing this, you're opening up a lot of other things that we're saying to the kids, you can't do this in the streets anymore. Like in my neighborhood, I see kids, they set up, play hockey in the street, play football in the street. So does it come down to no one is allowed to play in the streets in the town of Lopatcong?
streets are for cars, not kids. Now, one of the things we're taught, if a kid's gonna jog in the street, play catch in the street, that's gonna happen, but
You're not
as
gonna-
soon
you're not
as you
gonna stop
start
the
up setting up a net, or some kind of, thing to ride your skateboard out, you're taking private property, you're putting it in the cartway, and that becomes a real hazard at that point. Especially you take baseball or a hockey game, those kids are absorbed in the game. You say, well, I'm on the street, doesn't have a lot of traffic, then they have even less reason to look, and they're absorbed in the game.
I'm just wondering, like, where does this all end, where we're restricting the kids?
Well, it doesn't, everything becomes very litigious and.
Right, I mean, because, I grew up playing in the streets, baseball, running around, football, touch football, those are the locations, you play in your neighborhood, so, instead of driving, across town to go, play a game, so my point here is like, we're setting so many rules, in the township, and I don't know other towns if they're doing this, but, discouraging kids that already, that they're not getting the exercise they should, because they're playing on their computers most of the times. So now we're going to set another set of rules, well, you know what, just stay inside your house.
Now,
I
nobody's,
think we have to write an ordinance to protect ourselves, and if the kids
I understand the liability part of it, but how does that fall, maybe Katrina can answer, on Lopatcong liability? If it's in front of, say, a resident's home, and their kids are playing in the street, and God forbid, something happens, the stars fall.
Well, it wouldn't be completely the town's fault. However, that wouldn't stop them from suing the town, especially in light of this, you've now discussed this issue, and if you choose, you have an ordinance that kind of says you can't do that now, and we're not really enforcing it, maybe because it's not as clear as we'd want it to be. Some people could say, well, the town condoned this. They wanted people to play in the streets, and that's what we did, and my kid got hit and got run over, and so you can never stop anyone from suing you, but we can just...
well,
try to
I
give them
take it
less-
further, somebody puts one up and they're not even home, they go away and it becomes an attractive nuisance, and their neighbor's kids are playing there and somebody gets hurt. They might be pulled into it. I mean, you can't ignore the liability, and
Yeah, I understand.
the fear of the liability is one thing, but it's a very real possibility of the kid getting hurt. And I wouldn't want that on my conscience.
Anything is possible.
It's one thing to have a kid 15 years old out there. It's another thing when a kid 8 years old is throwing up baskets and not paying attention. Kids get hit. So when you have that first injury and they put you on the stand and say, why did you allow that? You spoke in favor of this. Why? What are you gonna say?
So now we're gonna tighten our ordinance, and then we're gonna have people in front of us saying, well, you know what, you put this ordinance up, what are you gonna do for the kids as far as?
Well, I'm saying, if there's demand for, we'll put more baskets up. Yeah.
Okay. Do we really need to do anything with this at this point? Just authorize you
If you
to?
want me to write an ordinance, then just
Well, we haven't
tell me
voted
that,
yet.
I will.
We haven't
Right.
voted,
Do
but,
we have anything in writing from the insurance company that can show us the specific liabilities that the township
No, I
is
don't have
under?
anything in writing.
Can we get something?
Let's get something from the insurance company.
Insurance company?
So at this point, why don't we just, make a motion to authorize Katrina to write something up based on the ordinance that we have now and the recommendations from the insurance company once
Okay, that's fine.
that, so. Is that okay with everybody? So I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Everybody clear on what the motion is? Everybody? Okay. I need a second?
We'll have a full hearing at the next meeting.
Okay.
Second?
Who's gonna second it?
Second.
All right.
Alan, a roll call that. Councilman Belcaro,
Yes.
Councilman Polito,
Yes.
Councilman Wright,
Yes.
Council President Pryor.
Yes.
Mayor Lukich.
Yes. Number 4 is to authorize a payment plan on sewer account for 274 Bald Eagle Drive.
This is, someone who was rejected by the sewer appeal. Is this, am I talking about the correct?
Yeah,
Rejected from the
sat on the
panel.
board, she could probably tell
They
you.
wanted a refund, they wanted a lowering of their sewer. The panel denied the request. So now there's a pretty substantial balance. They were concerned about tax sales and liens. We'll address that later, but, so they were asking for a payment plan. A payment plan is allowed by law on a property one time and one time only for the entire life of the property. It doesn't matter who owns it, but it just needs to be approved by the council. And it's, I think it's over 5 years, no more than 5 years, but if it's not a lot, they may say, oh, I only need 2 years. And we amortize it and do all that. But in light of what we're doing later in the meeting, we may contact this property owner and they may not want a payment plan when we get to the tax sale issue. So maybe approve it if they want it, and then we can address it, because it's a serious thing to take your one-time payment plan, and then, because then we can never do it again.
What had happened is, her bills, her water bills, and then of course it flows to the sewer, were very high. And she discovered that she did have some leaks. It took a while, so those bills started building up. And she did spent quite a bit of money fixing them. And now she's, I don't know what she's in arrears, but it's...
I think the reason she was denied by the sewer appeal panel is because although she had leaks, those leaks made their way into the sewer. So
Yes, yes.
the town was paying for the sewer. So if you have a leak and it goes in your basement, you pump it out into the grass, or someone comes and takes it and pumps it away, it never makes it into the sewer system. So that's kind of where you get that break, they'll issue a break. But they said, well, we had to pay for it to go into the sewer system, so they found, again, and not in her favor, for a reduction.
I would like to know what the amount was. I don't want to go into a 5-year payment plan for, $600 or something.
I don't know what that
Oh, I have the minutes.
is. Okay.
But it might be-
But she's got interest too on that?
Anyway.
So we should pass it, the options based on your...
Right, if she wants to go forward.
Well, not to mention something.
Yeah, it looks like it's probably a good 800, roughly.
So you could also say 2 years, or you could give her a payment plan.
Looks like upwards could be 900. Of course, she's accruing interest on this as well.
Which she would in the payment plan anyway, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't get the year-end penalties, go to tax sale, but
Over 2 years. just based on the 900, of course, you got the interest. I think we should,
You tell her 2 years?
yeah. I think we can tell her 2 years, now it's about $40 a month. So,
And just keep a current bill.
Correct.
Bill current, right? So it's 40 in arrears plus whatever current.
so we want to authorize a payment plan based on a 2-year payment return of roughly $40 a month until that balance is paid off, in addition to our normal sewer bill.
And because it's, maybe you want to address a letter to Katrina because it's like a one-time thing. she
Yeah,
might
well,
wanna think about
we'll
it.
explain the other thing too. She may do it.
Is that the maximum time you can give someone, is 2 years?
I think it's 5, but I think Jim said the payment is up to
Like
$40.
$40 a
Yeah.
month. So,
That's fair.
I would think so.
I hope so.
All right, do we need a motion for that?
Yes.
Okay. Number 4, a motion for number 4?
I'll make that motion for a 2-year repayment plan.
Second?
Second.
Yeah, Councilman Del Caro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mangucci?
Yes.
I have just a couple of corrections on your consent agenda before you consider it. Number 12 on your consent agenda should be Block 138, Lot 14. And then if you get down to number 48 at the bottom, and that's a resolution,
I have 47, I don't have...
yeah, we're going to add 48. Resolution number 18-258 to correct the tax account on block 89, lot 3.02.
Is that it?
That's it?
Does anyone on council have anything they want to pull out of the consent agenda?
We're just going to
Abstain.
abstain from 48. Just going to abstain from 48 only.
Okay. Hearing none, seeing none. Beth?
Need a motion?
Motion to pass the consent agenda.
Make that motion.
Second.
Councilman Del Caro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
I abstained for number 48, yes for the rest.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mangucci?
Yes. Council reports, Mr. Polito.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody who helped and participated with the town-wide yard sale. Last month, we had 104 participants raising over $1,000. And so, thanks again.
What?
That's a,
And then went to our emergency squad, correct?
yes, for the emergency squad.
Mr. Belcaro?
No report this month.
Mr. Wright?
The only thing I have, we're moving ahead with the police contract, and we're hoping to get that squared away within next month.
Mr. Pryor?
Nothing really substantive. I'll note that 3 of us attended the ribbon cutting at the county library and got the tour, and it's a very nice facility, and they'll sign you right up and take advantage of it.
That's it. I have a couple things tonight. Out at the school on the 17th of October, there's a program called Rachel's Challenge. It's at 6:30 at night. If you have not ever seen that or attended that, I would highly suggest that you do. It's very moving. It's about the Columbine shootings that happened back, I believe it was 99, if I'm not mistaken. In my position at the Phillipsburg School District, I happened to see that once. I saw it out at the school again, and it's kind of like a refresher course. When you see that, it's just very moving. So I would highly recommend that get done. Some of the roads, you may have seen some paving being done. I'd like to tell you that's us, but it's the gas company that's paving Brakely Avenue, and anywhere that they put gas lines, they're paving curb to curb. So we're getting some new road resurfacing on, quite frankly, on some roads that don't need it, but hopefully our program will come along very soon. Also, I need to ask for a resolution to not have a tax sale this year.
Correct.
I need a motion on that.
Make a motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay. Councilman Del Caro?
Yes.
Hold on.
We should probably explain why.
Want to explain why?
As you can tell from the agenda, there are several tax accounts that are still requiring correcting. We have a forensic auditor who is still reviewing several more accounts. In light of that, this council did not want to put a lien on even one property that did not deserve it. So in light of that, they are canceling the tax sale for 2018 until they are sure that everyone on the list deserves to be there. That doesn't mean you shouldn't pay your taxes, because there's still all the interest accrues, and the penalty at the end of the year will accrue, and all of those things, and it'll just be a bigger tax sale amount redemption for 2019, and it'll be harder to take care of. So I don't recommend anyone say, well, this is it, I don't have to pay. You know, for example, that one we just talked about, I'm going to make that recommendation to her. So, but in light of that, they didn't want to wrongfully put a tax lien on any property that didn't deserve it. So until we're sure, we're not having a tax sale.
No, just in general. I think we have explained what we were doing.
Yeah, okay. Yes, sir.
Before I pass this next resolution.
You want to do this one first?
Yeah, let's do this one first, but if you want to go over what we want to bring executive session, we can do that tonight.
That's true. So we'll do that.
Right.
So let's do the motion first.
All right, the resolution on the tax sale.
I have
First,
a
second.
motion and a second,
Yep,
so
roll
I'll
call,
go
please.
ahead and roll call that. Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mancucci?
Yes, also need a resolution for the 2018 salary ordinance as amended. A motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Yep. Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright? Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mancucci?
And on a lighter side, we used to have a Mayor's Wellness Committee, which,
You want to say yes?
yes, which we abolished. So, Mr. Wright made a comment a couple meetings back about my weight. So, I am reinstituting a wellness committee. It'll be a committee of one, that'll be me. And I've lost 9 pounds, so.
Good job, buddy. Way to lead.
Just so, yeah. Anyway, that's it for my report. Katrina, you need to
Yes, I
discuss what we
neglected
were
to
in
give
executive session.
the executive session report. So council was in executive session for approximately 1 hour and 5 minutes, and the topics of discussion are exactly as listed on your agenda 1 through 8. The minutes from executive session will be available at such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Sturbins.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things to update the Township Council and the public on regarding our paving project, which is going to include 7 roadways. There is a drainage component to that particular project, and our contractor has been on site, and he is on the verge of completing that work, and we have reported that to the paving contractor. In fact, I did that probably 7 to 10 days ago. Regarding the paving work, and we have 7 roads included in the paving program here in the fall. The contractor has still not made a commitment to come in. I did talk to the contractor Monday. They're supposed to get a phone call back yesterday, did not get a phone call back yesterday. I made a phone call today and also issued a text. I did not get a response to either, but I'm not discouraged, and I will keep on communicating with the contractor to try to get the schedule firmed up, and once I have that, I will communicate that to everybody, and we'll also get some notices out to the public for all those roadways, in concern. So that's where we're at, really with the paving program. We just have to clarify the date. And incidentally, the paving contractor has been on site, has been with my inspector, has inspected all the roads, has commented on the scope of work. So we have it all behind us right now. It's just a matter of them scheduling work and getting here with their crews to do the work. Any questions on that? Regarding municipal aid grants, I did file an application today with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the balance of Red School Lane. This will be from Charles Road to Route 57. The grant application that was filed today is in the amount of $200,000. That's what I'm requesting for the township. So hopefully it will be viewed positively over the next few months as they review it, and we're able to garner another grant to couple with the grant we received last year for Baltimore Street. Regarding the two federal aid sidewalk projects, as you may recall, at the last council meeting, a decision was made to separate out the flashing school speed limit signs on Strikers Road and also on Belvedere Road from the federal aid projects to get them done. I did meet with the county on September 7th, and there was no objection to that particular separation that we were proposing. And we did work on a framework for getting that designed, reviewed, and approved quickly. We also talked about in the meeting on September 7th with the county engineer what we would need to do to relocate the boundary between the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, which is between Red School Lane and Buckle Hill Drive, and relocating it to the north and east, closer to Harmony Township. So a report is requested of our office to support that. So in addition to doing the design of the flashing school speed limits, we're also preparing a traffic engineering report to support the relocation of that speed limit boundary or transition. Where we're at with that work is we're on the verge of completing that work. I should actually have drafts of the plans in the report tomorrow to review and comment upon, and the plan is to next week get them to the county, and with the plans of the county also be submitting an application for a road opening permit to be able to install these flashing school speed limit signs in Belvedere Road, which is a county right-of-way. So I just want to let you know where we're at with that. With respect to the actual sidewalk construction, Beth and I did have a long meeting several weeks ago with the Department of Transportation to go over the process that we need to work our way through to be able to build these two sidewalk projects, and I thought it was a good meeting. The one sidewalk project we're advancing is the one near the high school, which is the TAP grant project. The right-of-way in that area is more favorable to the township. The Safe Routes to School grant project, the right-of-way is a lot narrower, and there's some legal questions, so we're not advancing that as fast at this point. And I've actually talked to Katrina, and we've actually set up a meeting for October 16th to talk about the right-of-way that's available, and if this is something that we have the ability to do and execute without getting easements or right-of-way from property owners. So that's where we're at with that particular project. So that's my engineering report tonight, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Anybody got any questions for Paul at all? I certainly appreciate your input, Paul, and also your patience with me on the roads, because I've been screaming about that since I got here. I know there's something you can do about it. It sounds like we're in the queue and you're ready to go. You've done all your...
We're almost there.
And so I do want to see some roads paved, and I'd like to see it done this year. So anyway, thank you very much for that. Motion to approve department reports?
Get the chief, I left the chief what to talk.
I'll get them.
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Approve payment of bills? Motion?
Motion.
Need a motion? Need a second?
Second.
I'll roll call that. Councilman Valcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
I didn't see JMT on there, so I
No, I
can give an undisclosed or a full unqualified approval, yes.
Mayor McGuire?
Yes. Chief, we have your report. Do you have anything to add to this at all?
The only thing that I would like to make one quick announcement. if I
Sure.
could. Thank you. And yeah, I sent out an email earlier today regarding the community forum that we're going to be holding here in the Township Municipal Building. Of course, you were all invited, and I'd like to personally invite you, and hopefully you can make it. I know you're all very busy, but if you could make it, that'd be great. If I can expound on it a little bit, what it is just a forum to open up to the community, public leaders, to talk about Township and how, what kind of resources we have to offer to the Township as a police department, and what kind of things that we're seeing in the community, what kinds of crimes might be occurring, not only in this township, but countywide. So I also opened it up to the entire community to stop by. It's going to be on October 25th from 6 to 8 p.m.
October 25th.
That's a Friday night?
No.
It is a Thursday.
Thursday night.
I should be back. Okay.
And as of right now, registration is required. If you can register, it just makes things move along that much easier.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stick around, Chief. We're going to go back into executive session. We'll need to see you.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Thank you. Folks, questions, comments?
Just one question. Paul, you spoke about the county taking over the traffic signal over by the high school, over by the Phillipsburg High School there, Bell Pike and Rosebury Street. Has that carried forward any further? Is the county taking responsibility for it?
The contractor did make repairs to the traffic signal.
Yes.
Last week. The contractor's still trying to get his paving subcontractor out to handle the balance of the punch list work.
Yes.
And our attorney is still working on some of the legal documents that have to be submitted at this point. So we're closer than we were last month, but we're still not fully there. So which is a goal and objective of the township to get done this year.
Okay, good. Now, Joe, I want to say something about the playing in the streets.
Okay.
In my own lifetime, playing in the street, I ended up with one of my friends being hit by a car and having his leg broken, and it was actually caused him a shorter leg for the rest of his life. So the stance of really doing due diligence for safety in the street with the kids is a very important one. And I would just say that.
Well, I understand what Lou was saying, and I
I
played in
understand
the
it
street
too.
too, and I know someone who spent, a kid who spent a week in a coma. Any traffic engineer will tell you streets are for cars, so.
That was my first visit to a friend in the hospital.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if our insurance company said, don't worry about it,
They never say
attorney
that.
said, don't worry about
If
it.
you ask the insurance company, your attorney, you'd never leave your house again.
Yeah, so,
Okay, so thanks for considering everything you did about it. And I see your opinion too, Lou, because we play in the street too. Thanks.
I was fortunate enough to have one hanging off my garage for years. The neighborhood used to come there, so. Anyway. Yes, ma'am.
First thing about playing in the streets, you don't want them to play in the streets, but you want them to walk to school down to the bus stop in the streets. That I had an issue a number of years ago with, when my son almost got hit. So, but it was allowed, and you said there was nothing you could do. But on another note, I'm here about my property taxes again. For 4+ years, this has been going on. I've reported it. I reported it to the previous mayor. Everybody was aware of it. I have done everything that's been asked of me. I have provided all the documentation, only to have it misplaced when it gets to the township's hands. I think I've been more than cooperative. Now, this has really impacted my family. We could not buy property in another state because we could not prove we did not owe property taxes. Okay, today I stopped by Beth's and she gives me this affidavit to sign, and the affidavit is not true. I have provided the documentation. On this affidavit, it says that I either did not have a receipt or I no longer have a copy of the receipt. I provided the receipt to them. I'm not going to sign
You don't
it.
have it right now. That's, what it says is, you don't have a receipt right now.
They have it.
The township does not have it. They cannot find it if you gave it to them. However, the reason for this affidavit is we have to take it to the insurance company, and they're going to say, why don't you have a receipt for this one, but you have a receipt for this one? And so the purpose of the affidavit is for you to say, I made these 2 payments, and I'm swearing under oath I did, so we can take it to the insurance company.
Okay.
They passed a resolution tonight to refund those 2 amounts to your account, and so, but it's conditioned upon you signing that affidavit. So as soon as you sign, and I know there is one typo, it does say cash payment on number
2.
2, which we should cross out an initial. As soon as you sign that, the tax collector is authorized to make the changes. But we need that documentation, and I know you said you gave it to the previous tax collector. Obviously, you see there was a problem with the...
I
previous
understand
tax.
that, but it's also been this year when the previous tax collector's not
Every
there.
department checked their records, and I checked my records, and we do have records from you, but not that check.
Okay. Well, that's not my fault.
I understand that, but this is our way to fix that. Is
Okay.
all you have to do is say, yes, I made those 2 payments, and we'll correct it. We're not asking you to go get those records again. We could ask you to get those records again, we're not. We're asking you to just sign that you paid them, and that's it.
Okay, well, I have very little faith in this township, because what's gonna stop you from in November when I come back, like the past 4 years, past practice dictates a lot. Every time I come in here, it's a different quarter that you want proof for. Now, you're telling me it's these 2 quarters. When I come in here in November, what's for you to say it's not September 2017 like you did in February? I was in here in February. I was in here in May, and I was in here in August, and they're all different quarters that you wanted proof for.
The confusion that a lot of residents had was we sent out delinquent notices. The delinquent notices appear to look like the first or second quarter are missing, because what happens is, let's say a payment is missing from 2015, first quarter of 2015. If it's missing, every time you make a payment, it goes back to the oldest. By law, we're required to do that.
I understand that.
So if you're behind one payment, whether it's your fault or our fault, it keeps going back. So when the delinquent notice came out, it says you owe first quarter of 2018, even though you paid first quarter, but it went to fourth quarter of 2017. So a lot of people were very confused and were bringing us their last 2 payments, and we said, no, we have to explain to you, it's actually a different
That isn't what I was being asked. Back in February of 2018, I was asked for 2016 taxes.
When were you asked for this?
In February. This year, I've been asked for 2016 taxes, 2014 and 15 taxes.
I can tell you that I personally reviewed your account myself, and the only 2 payments that were missing as of the date I looked at it, which, another quarter may have come due, but were those 2 payments. You provided me one here at the meeting. I had that, so I wrote specifically in your affidavit, and I have provided that receipt. And the only other one missing is that one that I'm asking you to sign the affidavit for. So everything else is current. And so when we correct your account, what the process of the tax collector is, she has a letter saying we've corrected your account, and here's your updated account. She sends you your resolution, she sends you a printout of your account, and she sends you a letter saying we corrected your account. So you have a letter showing and your account printout, because some people, we fix it and they're still delinquent because they just didn't pay me.
Well, I got things that it was fixed and everything. I got the tax payouts, it was fixed, and then the next quarter I come in, and I owe $4,000 one month, $2,000 the next month,
Let me ask you this.
$5,000 the next month.
When you got a printout saying it was fixed, was it the prior tax collector?
I don't recall.
Okay, well.
Ma'am, let us take care of it for you this time.
You've been
It's done.
trying to take care of
It's
it,
done,
sir.
it's already done. Sign the paperwork if you
I'm not
choose.
signing this paperwork because it's not
Then
true.
we'll have to go back and take that off the...
Then take it off. It's not true.
Conditioned upon.
Okay, then we don't have to do
Well, I
it.
mean, we
We're
can
trying to
get
help you, ma'am.
correction.
Then
It's a-
no, you're not trying to help me. If you were trying to help me, this would have been resolved 4 years ago.
Ma'am, we had a problem, you know that.
I know that, but the problem,
Now
that
we're
was
trying-
before
when
the
you bring it
problem.
to us, we're trying to fix it now. Give us that chance, sign the paperwork, we get it done, it's over. You'll come back next
understand
month
that.
saying, guess what, I was wrong. You guys were right.
No, I
guarantee
won't,
you're gonna
because
say
I've been doing that for 4 years. I know it's a different regime, and I can see a difference in it, but I have very little faith.
Okay, well, give us one more chance.
And guess what? We don't blame you for that lack of faith, but I can tell you that I personally directed Beth and Katrina after the last meeting to get it done.
Sure. If it was up to me, I would only issue refunds for if I had the paperwork in my hand, but that's not what I was directed to do, so that's why you have that. Not everyone else has that affidavit.
Well, I want this changed to show that I provided it to
No.
the township and that you misplaced
That
it.
we
Because that is
have
the
your
truth.
records.
But I can't sign this because it's not true.
It doesn't say,
It says right here, I certify that the foregoing is true. It's not true.
it doesn't say that you provided it, and it doesn't say that you did it, because you didn't get a receipt from the town.
Or I no longer have a copy of the receipt. You have the receipt.
Okay, but you no
don't.
longer have it.
That's what it says, is you don't. Because if you did, the insurance company would say, well, why didn't you get it from her if she has it?
Well, why don't you get it from them?
They don't have it.
And what happened to
I'm
it?
not asking, it doesn't say what the town has and what the town doesn't have. What it says is that you don't have it. Because if you have it, I need a copy of it.
Well,
Ma'am, let me say this. All of this on here tonight were accounts that have been straightened out. Based on what we
understand.
know, based on what we're going through. We have forensic orders that we bought in, paying $160 an hour to a temporary tax collector. We're doing our due diligence, not just myself, but this entire council and the employees here, to best rectify this situation. I
It
mean,
should have been rectified when I reported it prior, but that's neither here nor
we are
there.
talking about a whole situation here that I really can't expound on at this point. Hopefully you receive my letter back in June. We are waiting on other agencies to take care of this for us, but in the meantime, we're going account by account that's been given to us, and we're doing our best to straighten it out. This is 2 pages tonight. We've done these at almost every
Got
meeting.
87 resolutions to date.
So, I think we're working on it, but I certainly understand your frustration, because your name isn't cleared. If they do look it up, they're gonna see, yes, you're behind on your taxes. I
They
get it.
did, and we lost the property.
I get it, but I can't wave a wand and take care of the
And
problem.
I understand that,
And we're
but
doing.
I have done everything to cooperate, and I think that getting a letter that states my taxes are paid,
You will.
They are.
You will, as soon as we correct your account, we'll give you.
well, can you change this to show that I have provided the copy? You know, well, I'm not
We don't have
signing
It
it.
doesn't say whether we got it or we didn't get it. And I can tell you also, I think everyone up here can tell you, the former mayor never told anyone that you complained to him. I think the staff can tell you that, because we certainly would have heard.
Well, I know the staff was aware of it.
The former tax collector was aware of it?
No, not only the tax
Prior
collector.
to- prior
I'll
to
just leave it at that, not only the tax collector.
Okay.
But, I mean, when you get a notice that says that your house is going up for sheriff's sale, somebody else had to be aware of it besides the
We don't
tax.
send a tax.
No, I was on the list, and they can attest to it.
A tax sale list, perhaps. That came from the former tax collector.
So, but somebody else in the township had to be aware of that list.
It's a list that she prints off the computer. It's not, we don't check the list, we don't read the list, we don't,
Well, the last meeting or the meeting before, they acknowledged it.
I think they acknowledged you were here and.
No, they acknowledged that back when this was starting to occur, that my name, I got a letter from whomever that said because of my non-payment of taxes, I was on the list for foreclosure or whatever.
That's not what the list says, so I don't know who you got that letter from, but.
Well, I got a letter.
Tax sale letter.
It's been
came out-
4 years, so I don't really know
Oh,
offhand.
we're talking as of February
But
7th.
I'm also talking as this has been going on for so long.
This is how we can correct it. We're doing our best.
Well, I wanted to say that I have provided it for you.
It's not saying whether you provide it or not. That's what.
Well, that's the way I'm reading it.
It's not.
It's not true in my eyes. This is not true to me.
Your resolution says as soon as you sign it, we will correct it immediately. So it's been approved tonight.
Brian?
A couple things, actually. Paul, we were supposed to look at, which we did, Bellevue Road.
Yep, you sent me the pictures, I saw
All
that.
right, that's, I don't know where you want to go with all that exactly, financially, everything. I know that involves county. All right, that's their basin. Do you like that?
That's their basin? That's their basin?
As the water comes off.
Water, yeah, it runs off the creek coming down through, it's either Yeager's property or one of them, so it's a running continuous.
How many feet of damage did you observe?
Well, we observed, probably what, 20 feet, 25 feet where it collapsed. But the problem we're having is, it's a 15 by approximately 24 pipe. The pipe's around. This one isn't. All right, and we don't know how far back to start, once we start digging. I could tell you across the street, they dug and there is no pipe left. All right, you can see it sitting there if you drive down the road. All right, so once we get into it, I don't know where you want to stop and where you want to go. So, we were looking at maybe replacing the whole pipe that's coming down through, all right, which involves county and wherever we gotta go, I don't know. But, I've gotta do something, because the pipe is, you know, just pretend it's round right now, but it's here and here. So it's great now, you continuously have water running into the ground.
What's your recommendation, Paul?
My recommendation is, I think this is going to cost some money. It's corrugated metal pipe, it's rotted, it's a little more than 200 feet in length. And you're going to have to build the pipe in a parallel manner. I think the best thing to do would try to, bypass pump that water around the area of collapse at this point. And we put in one catch basin, and then from that catch basin, we built some new pipe down to the manhole. We can do some plastic pipe there. So I think that's the way to do it, is if we can bypass pump, we can dry that area out and build a catch basin, some plastic pipe, and then next year we can budget to replace all the pipe all the way up to the county road.
Where's the manhole located?
What's the name of that oil company?
J.R. Williams?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's right next to his drive. It's a round one.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So that's that issue.
So this has been a situation for quite some time now.
Well, it's been singing a little different. Now we've opened it completely up, and you know what I mean. We got a phone call. It's a sinkhole happening the other day.
So that's what led you to go there?
Yeah. It's not like I wanted to go there.
Wasn't by chance.
No, not at all.
Find you don't even look for it.
And,
What else you got?
the other one is up on Fox Farm. I want to contract that out, if that's all right. I don't know what the price is going to be there. It'll come out of my operating expense. All right, I want to be down on Lock Street, up on Lowe's Hollow, paving some roads and back dragging and stuff. All right, so, we're working on some final quotes. Depending on where it has to go, prevailing wage or whatever, depends on where it goes. We can run between 16 to, probably 8. All right, if right now I got one at 4, 8, but that's not prevailing wage. I think we talked about that with K&A. All right, he was the one, but he didn't give me a prevailing wage. So that's something I want to do, and I just want to let you know where we're going with that. All right, the whole basin has to be renewed, everything. All right, and brought across the street and shut the roads down. The other issue is, Paul, I haven't brought it to your attention or any of this yet. Lowe's Hollow Road up towards the dog kennel.
Yep.
They went in, they cut trees down up in there. I'm glad he's here, because that man over there went over that hill 3-4 times, stopped plowing. They took the trees down that are saving him from rolling. I don't know what we're going to do, but he told me he doesn't even want to go up on the hill this year. All right, so
It's dangerous.
it is, but there's people up there.
It's very narrow up there too, right?
The bank's a road.
It's one lane road.
What's happening, the bank is eroding away, and the road's going with it.
So I'd like to get together with you, Paul, but we have to do something with that before winter hits. And I did mention guardrail. Everybody up there asked me, please don't put guardrail up there. All right,
They're not plowing.
they're not plowing. All right. The one people said we can dump dirt and widen that, so kind of need some input where you want to go, but I need to keep the guys safe at the same time.
That's fine. Obviously, you can get together with Paul to take a look.
I will get together in the next few days.
Okay.
Some costs on
The
it.
other, sorry, Jim.
Okay.
Mayor. Sorry. The other thing is, I'm very happy with where we're going, with not playing in the road, and I'm going to explain a little bit why without getting into too much. In the development that I plow, I have a gentleman that decides that he can ride around in a Jeep with a kid behind his car with 10, 15-foot rope, pulling a toboggan. All right, as I'm plowing, I come around, coming up the road, he come out of it, one of the roads. I'm thinking it's a Jeep. All of a sudden, I see this kid, he missed my plow by 2 to 3 feet. I'd have cut him right in half. All right, I got four-wheelers ripping in and out of me and backwards and forwards, and it shouldn't be on the roads. And so I walked up to the guy after I couldn't take it anymore of him doing that. He finally pulled in his driveway. And I stopped, I got out, and I said, can I talk to you for a minute? He said, sure. I said, before I have to go home and cry for the night, okay, in days to come, because I cut your kid in half, will you please stop? So what I'm trying to say to you is, we've allowed little, and little has become more and more and more and more, playing in the road to the point that somebody's about due to get hurt. All right, and I don't want to be that person, nor do I want to take anybody else out, or anybody else to do that. So I say thank you for where you're headed. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Brian. Anyone else, questions, comments? Seeing none, we do have a need to go back into executive session. So thank you all for coming out. We should only be a couple minutes. Chief, I need you to hang around. Buck going to sign it?
I think I had it there, but she,
I have the machine on now.
Oh,
Huh?
machine's on.
Wait for people.
I would imagine you're through.
Let's see if they want to get back here. You know what, go out in the hall,
You gotta take them back anyway, so you don't.
Oh, you want me, okay.
go out in the hall, tell them there's nothing.
I will be at the game tomorrow night. Yes,
The
I
Giants fan.
Who they playing?
I got Odell Beckham's Jr. glove in my shadow box in my desk.
How
Yeah.
they doing this year?
Is it on? No. Not as good as they should be.
They're not cheating like usual.
Oh, stop, that was nice. But I don't have to back, so that's why we're done.
Chris Hogan's on my
So,
desk.
love
watch
them.
me on TV.
I think that's-
I'm a crazy lady.
Kim, I'm not sure, but I think that's slander.
Yeah. Yeah, against the Patriots, not against they're public figures. There's no such thing as slander.
Oh, okay.
Edelman, for your attorney.
Yeah.
So I need I need a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, we can just tell
Yeah,
them.
you're fine now, I got the machine on.
Okay.
Anybody came back?
That's right.
I told her to tell them there's nothing going on.
Just do a motion to adjourn.
They're gonna come back and just hear you say, "Look,
Yeah.
Some people might like my voice, who knows?
One time I was in a meeting and I go, I have to leave while you do this matter because I have conflict. And they said, do you have to? We enjoy your company. I said, yeah, not that much. They were older. I would just do it.
Motion to adjourn?
motion.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.